We are back with another reaction video, you guys. It is almost 8:45, but that's not stopping our grind. So this video here is going to be from Old Money Luxury, and it's going to be talking about the $4 billion fashion empire that was destroyed by its own family, and that's none other than Forever 21. Forever 21 was definitely one of my spots when I was actually in my 20s, when I was on my trying to dress preppy and wear bow ties and all of that type of stuff. I was definitely in Forever 21 heavy. But let's not waste no time. Let's see what this video's got to say. Make sure you like, sub to the channel, and let's get into this reaction.
If you were a teenager in 2010, you remember the yellow shopping bags. You remember the massive stores that seemed to occupy entire wings of your local mall. 90,000 square feet of crop tops, bodycon dresses, and $5 jewelry spread across multiple floors. You remember the fitting room lines that wrapped around clothes.
I know it's early, but if you're from New York, if you've ever been to the Forever 21 in Times Square, I mean, that joint was insane. I forgot how many floors it had. I think it had like 5 floors. Y'all let me know in the comments if it's still there. Matter of fact, let me just look it up. Let me see. I don't think it's there anymore. Hold up. Forever 21. Forever 21. New York. New York. Oh, better yet, let me narrow it down. Let me put Times Square. Oh, damn, yeah, they closed. I should have expected that, but yeah, that store used to be jumping, 5 floors, get everything you need.
Clothing racks, the pounding music, and the strange little Bible verse printed on the bottom of every bag. Forever 21 was everywhere. 800 stores across 48 countries, 43,000 employees, $4.4 billion in annual revenue. A family fortune of $5.9 billion built by Korean immigrants who arrived in Los Angeles with $11,000 and no English.
Damn.
By 2025, every single US store had closed. The empire liquidated in 106 days. In today's episode of Old Money Luxury, we examine how the Chang family built the defining fast fashion brand of a generation, and how the same family control that created it burned it to the ground.
Yeah, how did this happen?
At their zenith in 2015, Do-won and Jin-suk Chang commanded a $5.9 billion fortune, ranking them number 119 on the Forbes 400 and establishing Forever 21 as a $4.4 billion fast fashion empire. They were America's wealthiest Korean immigrants. Their wealth derived from a single source: 99% equity ownership in Forever 21. Unlike competitors who diluted founder control through public offerings or private equity, the Changs maintained absolute authority, rejecting numerous buyout offers and IPO opportunities throughout their expansion. The company's valuation approached $6 billion at its peak, making it one of the largest privately held fashion retailers in the world. Do-won Chang served as CEO and controlled all operational decisions. He personally approved every real estate lease, even after surpassing 500 stores. He scrutinized executive expense reports down to lunch receipts and Uber fares. His private office occupied the upper floor of headquarters, where conversations were hushed and access was restricted. Jin-suk Chang served as chief merchandising officer and creative force. Her domain was the lower floor, where buyers showed bags to security upon exiting and windows were covered with blinds. The psychology driving such empire building and the family devastation it produces receives extended treatment in our free Substack newsletter.
I mean, they always say, like, you shouldn't mix family and business together. Now, this isn't to say that you can't have a successful business with your family, but you got to establish some ground rules, especially if, you're the head. It's like, listen, everybody know their role. Everybody knows their role. We all gonna get paid. We all gonna eat. Just stay on code. You know what I'm saying?
A dynasty's too complex for documentary format reveal what inherited ambition actually costs across generations. The Chang story belongs in that company. The family's primary tangible asset was their Beverly Hills residence at 101 Copley Place, a 6,597 square foot home on a 26,000 square foot lot overlooking the Los Angeles Country Club golf course.
Damn, that's
They purchased the property on March 28, 2008 for $7,500,000. Current estimates place its value at $20 to $25 million. Despite extensive searches of FAA aircraft registries, yacht databases, and property records, no evidence emerged of Chang family ownership of private jets, yachts, or additional real estate. This absence reflected Do-won's disciplined philosophy. He famously reinvested profits into business expansion rather than personal consumption. Their wealth was entirely concentrated in Forever 21 equity, a decision that would prove catastrophic. The brand's cultural power extended far beyond financial metrics. During its peak from 2005 to 2015, Forever 21 commanded 9 to 10% of US teens' favorite clothing brand preferences, according to Piper Jaffray's Taking Stock with Teens.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely the spot to go to if you needed a quick club fit. You know, you was just trying to get, nice. I definitely, like I said, when I was in my 20s, I spent a great deal of my money in Forever 21, getting me a couple of pieces. I'm trying to think, do I still got some pieces from there, but I don't. I think I probably got rid of all of that stuff. But yeah, I would say by 2015, I wasn't wearing anything from Forever 21 anymore. I was in H&M more. I can say out of the two of them, I was getting stuff out of H&M more than I was Forever 21. I could say that without a shadow of a doubt.
Survey. Strategic placement in high-traffic mall locations, including marquee properties on New York's Fifth Avenue and Times Square, amplified this dominance. The decision to print John 3:16 on every shopping bag created a unique brand identity that merged commerce with Christian evangelism. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. Every purchase became a quiet act of faith. But the Changs had arrived in America with nothing, and their journey from poverty to billions began at a Los Angeles gas station.
Okay.
Do-won Chang was born on March 20th, 1954 in South Korea, during one of the nation's most turbulent periods. The Korean War had ended only months earlier, leaving the peninsula devastated and divided. Chang grew up in poverty, running a coffee delivery business as a child in Seoul's Myeongdong district to help support his family. He never attended college. Jin-Suk Chang worked as a hairdresser in South Korea, developing an eye for style and trends that would later define Forever 21's merchandise strategy. The couple married young and watched as their country transformed from a war-ravaged nation into...
It's always like a beautiful thing to hear Cinderella's story, how they didn't come from money or anything like that, but they was able to create a multi-billion-dollar business like that coming from nothing, being poor and stuff like that. It's like when people get over here from other countries, and I'm sure we've all heard this before, they come to this country and they kill it because they know what it's like where they come from. They know that where they are from, there's nothing there. There's nothing there waiting for them. So they got to come here and kill and then go back to their country and stuff like that and live in the well-to-do places. You know what I'm saying? But that's the mindset that they have. They're like, yo, when I come to America, I got to give it all I got because there's nothing waiting for me back home but poverty-stricken areas, crime, and they don't want to go back to that.
An emerging industrial power. Political instability persisted. In 1979, military leader Park Chung-hee was assassinated, plunging the country into uncertainty. Martial law followed. The Changs decided to seek opportunities abroad. In 1981, Do-won and Jin-Suk landed at Los Angeles International Airport after securing green cards through a brief layover in Hawaii. Do-won was 27. Jin-Suk was 25. They arrived with $11,000 in savings, limited English proficiency, and no college degrees.
Damn.
At that time, People in South Korea were not living well, Do-won later reflected in Korean during a rare 2016 Forbes interview. The opportunities were quite limited. The first years in America demanded superhuman effort. Do-won worked 3 simultaneous jobs, often laboring 19 hours per day at $3 per hour.
Yo. And here we are in 2026 complaining about how we got to work 3 and 4 jobs or have 3, 4, 5 side hustles just to make money. This man was working 3 jobs, making $3 an hour with limited English and only $11,000 in savings. And look what he did. So if that's not enough confirmation right there that you can get what you want or you can be anything, something is wrong with you, man.
His mornings began before dawn, washing dishes and preparing food at a local cafe. Afternoons meant 8-hour shifts at a gas station. Nights ended near midnight cleaning offices in a small janitorial venture he started himself. Jin-suk contributed by working as a hairdresser. The pivotal insight occurred at the gas pump. Do-won noticed that the people driving the nicest cars were all in the garment business. Korean immigrants who had found their way into fashion, pulling up in Mercedes-Benzes and BMWs. He asked these drivers what they did for a living. This curiosity led him to a position at a clothing store where his work ethic immediately distinguished him. I treated it as if it were my own business, and the owner appreciated my dedication, he remembered. Los Angeles, in the early 1980s, was the epicenter of American garment manufacturing. The city's fashion district employed tens of thousands of workers.
And to this day, to a degree, you could still get a lot of pieces from California. You know, a lot of these blanks and stuff like that are made out there in Cali. But yeah, it's definitely the hub for apparel and blank garments and stuff like that.
Many of them Korean immigrants who had built networks of suppliers, manufacturers and retailers. Chang immersed himself in this ecosystem, learning the rhythms of wholesale purchasing, trend identification and retail margins. After 3 years of brutal saving, the Changs had accumulated $11,000. Every dollar represented sacrifice. They were ready to bet everything on a 900-square-foot storefront in Highland Park. The previous owner of that location had generated only $30,000 in annual sales, and the Changs were about to multiply that figure by 23.
Let's get to the rise.
On April 16th, 1984, Do-won and Jin-suk Chang invested their entire nest egg to open Fashion 21 at 5637 North Figueroa Street in Highland Park, Los Angeles. A modest 900-square-foot space. The location was strategic. Highland Park housed a vibrant Korean-American community, and the Changs understood their target demographic intimately. They sourced merchandise through wholesale closeouts and direct manufacturer purchases, acquiring designs similar to those popular in South Korea, but at significantly reduced prices. First-year revenue hit $700,000. Do-won and Jin-suk worked 16-hour days in the store themselves, learning retail management, customer preferences, and inventory control through direct interaction. Their Christian faith was present from the start. They attended early morning prayers at a local church nearly every day, a practice maintained even at the height of their success. The 1987 rebranding from Fashion 21 to Forever 21 marked a crucial pivot. Do-won explained the philosophy. Old people want to be 21 again, and young people want to be 21 forever. This universal aspiration allowed the brand to transcend its Korean-American niche and capture a broader youth demographic. The first mall-based location opened in Panorama City, California in 1989, nearly 6 times larger than the original Highland Park
89.
store. The timing coincided with America's mall culture explosion. Growth accelerated through the 1990s, with the Changs adding new stores at a rate of 1 every 6 months, fueled entirely by reinvested profits. This discipline allowed expansion without diluting family ownership. The 2005 acquisition...
Damn, man, seeing that clip just now, like, hold up, like, go back, like...
The timing coincides entirely by
look at what the malls used to be like
this
back in the
discipline
day, man.
allowed expansion without diluting family ownership. The
You don't
2005
really see this too
acquisition of
much anymore.
Gadzooks for $33 million instantly doubled the store count to 400. Do One developed a signature real estate strategy, acquiring anchor tenant spaces vacated by bankrupt department stores like Mervyn's, Saks and Dillard's at favorable rates, then transforming them into Forever 21 mega stores. The flagship stores became monuments to fast fashion ambition. The Times Square location spanned 90,000 square feet across 4 stories with 151 fitting rooms.
Yep.
Las Vegas reached 127,000 square feet, the size of an average Target superstore. The largest location ever built stretched to 162,000 square feet, featuring marble tile floors, chandeliers, and curving staircases more befitting luxury retailers than $5 fashion outlets. Store count reached 794 across 48 countries by 2015. Employee headcount hit 43,000. Annual revenue peaked at $4.4 billion. The original Highland Park store remained in operation until 2020, bearing the chain's original Fashion 21 name, a nostalgic reminder that Do One still personally approved every lease for every new location, even as the empire grew beyond his capacity to manage it. His daughters, Linda and Esther, were being groomed to inherit the company, but grooming and actual transfer of power would prove to be very different things. Forever 21 faced over 50 copyright infringement lawsuits between 2007 and 2019, making it one of the most litigated fashion retailers in history.
Why is
Diane
that?
von Furstenberg sued over copied wrap dress designs. Gwen Stefani's LAMB brand sued over replicated patterns. Travata, Anasui, and Anthropology all filed claims. The pattern was consistent. Forever 21 would produce near-identical versions of designer items at 5 to 10% of the original price, prompting cease-and-desist letters followed by confidential settlements. Legal fees and settlement costs likely exceeded $50 to $100 million cumulatively. Labor controversies proved equally damaging. A 3-year national boycott, organized by garment workers, began in October 2001, protesting alleged sweatshop conditions. In 2017, the U.S. Department of Labor investigated Los Angeles garment factories supplying Forever 21 and found violations at 85% of visited facilities, ordering $1,300,000 in back wages and damages. Linda and Esther Chang, Do One and Jin Suk's daughters, were positioned as the next generation of leadership. Linda earned an Ivy League undergraduate degree, worked retail floors during summers, and assumed the role of executive vice president and board member by age 32. Esther earned an Ivy League undergraduate degree, worked merchandising and design teams, and assumed the role of VP of merchandising by age 30. On paper, the succession plan appeared robust. In practice, Do One never relinquished decision-making authority. Linda's title was Executive VP, but all strategic decisions, real estate leases, capital expenditures, major hires, still required her father's personal approval. Esther held VP of merchandising, but Jin Suk continued to review and override design decisions. The daughters were positioned as successors but operated as subordinates. In 2015, as financial troubles mounted, Do One and Jin Suk borrowed $5 million each from their daughters' personal trusts at only 2% interest, compared to bank rates of 6 to 8%. The loan was unsecured, meaning creditors would take priority over Linda and Esther in any bankruptcy. This arrangement created catastrophic conflict of interest. The daughters owed fiduciary duties to all Forever 21 stakeholders, yet had lent personal funds to their parents at below-market rates, subordinating those duties to family loyalty. In 2019, Ariana Grande sued Forever 21 for $10 million after the company hired a lookalike model to mimic her Seven Rings music video aesthetic.
What kind of Yo, everybody and their mama was coming after Forever 21. They was trying to drain them dry. Like, everywhere you turn, cease and desist. This person suing you, that person. Like, y'all really trying to get a bag for real.
The marketing team had recommended partnering with Grande in 2014. Management chose Iggy Azalea instead. Eric Gordon, a professor at the University of Michigan's Ross School of Business, identified the core problem. Hubris is common among founders, but it can be particularly detrimental if you've enjoyed prolonged success. They lacked a board of directors to provide reality checks. You can remain in your self-created bubble for a long time, but eventually that bubble bursts. The bubble was already deflating, and the international expansion was accelerating the collapse. Forever 21's international footprint exploded from 7 stores in 2005 to 262 stores across 40 countries by 2015, a 37-fold increase in a single decade. The expansion was a financial catastrophe. International operations lost an average of $100 million annually between 2014 and 2018. Stores in Canada, Europe, and Asia collectively bled $10 million per month by 2018 and 2019. Spain, Belgium, Netherlands, Ireland, and Germany.
They probably gonna say it in this video, but the pandemic, that was the nail in the coffin. That was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Were abandoned after losses exceeding $40 million in 2016 alone. Thailand, Taiwan, Japan, and India followed. Canada was exited entirely despite proximity and similar demographics to US operations. The root causes were profound misunderstandings of local markets. German stores opened without anyone realizing German retailers close on Sundays, eliminating 1/7 of potential revenue. European wage standards ran 3 to 5 times higher than US levels, making retail operations structurally unprofitable at Forever 21's price points. Digital strategy proved equally disastrous. E-commerce generated only 16% of Forever 21's sales in 2018, compared to industry leaders commanding 30 to 40%. Online inventory was invisible in physical stores. Customers standing in a Forever 21 location could not check if an item was in stock at a warehouse or another store. H&M prided itself on bringing new designs to market in 7 weeks. Forever 21's supply chain took 20 weeks from concept to store delivery. In fast fashion, a 13-week lag is fatal. Trends shift entirely within that time frame. McKinsey was hired in 2015 and recommended complete overhaul of inventory systems and mobile investment. Forever 21 implemented 15% of the recommendations. Bain recommended halting European expansion in 2014. Forever 21 opened 23 new European stores over the following 2 years. Boston Consulting Group recommended centralizing purchasing and reducing the supplier base from over 200 to 75 core suppliers.
So they basically realized, like, look, okay, you guys are bleeding money and you're not really turning over a profit. So now they got to get the big dogs in to try to come and salvage the company and save what little is left and hopefully, you know, pump life back into it and get it back to its former glory. But clearly that didn't happen.
Forever 21 maintained the decentralized model. The Changs paid millions for expert advice they refused to follow. Store formats had become crushing life.
Why pay for some advice if you're not going to take it? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just more money wasted.
Liabilities. 70 locations exceeding 35,000 square feet, with combined annual occupancy costs approaching $450 million. 6 leases signed for former Mervyn's locations would not expire until 2027 and 2028, locking the company into oversized spaces as mall traffic collapsed. Gen Z preferences were shifting fundamentally. Fenty Beauty launched with 40 foundation shades, exposing Forever 21's limited range as exclusionary. The clean beauty movement made Forever 21's formulations look toxic to younger buyers. Kylie Cosmetics and digitally native brands sold community and authenticity. Forever 21 sold $5 tops that fell apart after 3 washes. On September 30th, 2019, the company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, citing $1,580 million in debt and announcing plans to close stores in 40 countries, but the restructuring would only delay the final collapse by 6 years. The 2019 bankruptcy announced closure of up to 178 US stores and complete exit from 40 countries. Germany, Spain, Belgium, Netherlands, Ireland, France, Japan, Thailand, Taiwan, South Korea, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, all gone. In February 2020, a consortium of Authentic Brands Group, Simon Property Group, and Brookfield Property Partners acquired Forever 21's operating company for $81 million. The price represented a 98.2% discount from the $4.4 billion implied valuation at peak. The Chang's 99% stake had been worth approximately $5.8 billion in 2015. In 2020, that same stake was worth approximately $80 million. The restructuring marked the permanent end.
That's crazy. You went from having an estimated value of 5.9 billion, a B, down to just 80 M's. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, 80 M's is nothing to sneeze at, but compared to having 5 billion, that is a major difference. Like, you gonna feel that. You know what I mean? You gonna feel that.
End of family control. Do-won and Jin Suk were forced to cede operational authority to Spark Group, retaining no board seats, no operational roles, and no voting rights. The daughter's $10 million loan was classified as unsecured debt. They recovered approximately 18 cents per dollar, losing $8,200,000. Despite 5 years of restructuring under new ownership, Forever 21 never recovered. In 2023, Shein acquired a 1/3 stake in Spark Group. Pop-ups were installed in select Forever 21 stores. Forever 21 merchandise was listed on Shein's marketplace. Shein customers could return online orders at Forever 21 locations. The partnership failed across every dimension. Brian Gildenberg, CEO of Confluencer Commerce, summarized, Forever 21 thought standing next to Shein would make them relevant again. But partnerships don't matter if the core product, strategy, and execution.
Yeah, not only that, now that I think about it, Shein, I guess you can throw Temu in there. Don't forget Fashion Nova. Like, you just had all these other options just popping up out the woodwork that just obliterated Forever 21. Like, I remember, and I think they actually showed it in this video, there was a Forever 21 down in Fayetteville when I used to live in Riverdale. And I remember my child's mom used to go there quite often to buy some clothes and stuff like that. They had a few pieces in there. I think I brought some stuff out of there, some like graphic tees, but it was nothing that wowed me for the most part. But she stayed in there, you know, if she had an event or somewhere she was going. But needless to say, we would have seen this coming though. We would have seen this coming.
Aren't there? More than 11% of invoices were over 91 days late by November 2024. Manufacturers in China, Vietnam, and South Korea received payment delays of 60 to 90 days, forcing some to halt shipments entirely. Store closing sales commenced February 14, 2025. Official bankruptcy filing came March 16th. All 354 US stores closed by April 30th, ahead of the originally projected May 1st deadline. 354 stores liquidated in 106 days. The Los Angeles corporate headquarters was permanently shuttered, with 358 employees laid off. The Chang family's fortune had evaporated. $5.9 billion in 2015, $1.6 billion in 2019. Billionaire status lost entirely in 2020, $500 to $800 million by 2025. Primarily the Beverly Hills mansion. Du Wanchang noticed something at a gas station in 1981. He built an empire on that observation. He lost that empire because he stopped noticing anything that contradicted what he already believed. The yellow shopping bags are gone now. The Bible verses printed on the bottom live only in memory. The stores that once occupied entire wings of American malls stand empty, waiting for the next tenant. And now we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Was Forever 21's collapse inevitable once the Changs refused outside governance? Or could different leadership have saved the empire they built?
All right, that's the end of the video, y'all. My opinion, yeah, if they probably brought some other figureheads in there, they probably could have saved Forever 21. You know, they probably could have did like some sort of mashup or whatever, or do like some of these other companies do. You know, you absorb a company that is struggling and is crippling, and you gobble them up, and then you become a superpower. They could have done something like that. But you know, when you start something from scratch, it's your baby, and you just feel like, you know, I'm inevitable. You know, I got it all figured out. I don't need other people telling me how I should run my business. But we clearly see that that was not the case. You don't know everything. And they got to feel like, damn, you know, we came to this country with $11,000 and we managed to scale a business to $5 billion, damn near $6 billion, only to now have what, maybe 500 million, if that. Now, again, that's nothing to sneeze at. I mean, they're well off. They don't ever got to work another day in their life. You know what I'm saying? But that's got to hurt somewhere. And then you had to borrow money from your children's trust. You know what I mean? And they was only able to recoup about 1 million of that. So it's crazy. But y'all get down in the comments. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Give me your thoughts on a situation like that. Would you give in and let some shareholders or somebody else run your business if they feel like, you know, you're running it into the ground? Or would you just be stubborn and be like, nah, this is mosh, I'm gonna hold on to it, I don't want nobody controlling it? Y'all let me know in the comments. But anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I appreciate y'all if y'all watched it all the way to the end. Be sure to like, sub to this channel, and until next time, I'll see y'all in the next video.